Men stumble not because they are blind, but because they refuse to see the truth of human nature. You are lied to, manipulated, and controlled daily at work, in politics, in relationships. The problem, you are taught to be good, when the world only rewards those who are clever, cunning, and ruthless. Tonight, I, Niccolò Machiavelli, shall tear away the illusions and arm you with 8 ruthless lessons that will make you dangerously smart. Men stumble not because they lack intelligence, but because they refuse to see the world as it truly is. This is the tragedy of your age. You have been raised on illusions, told to play fair, to wait your turn, to smile while others take what is rightfully yours. Schools teach obedience, not strategy. Society teaches you to suppress ambition, not sharpen it. And so, the majority live like sheep, wandering blind into traps set by the wolves. The problem is not that you are weak. The problem is that you are trained to believe goodness alone will protect you, but goodness without power is merely an invitation for exploitation. Look around, the workplace where mediocrity is rewarded because someone knows how to flatter the right boss. The relationships where charm and manipulation matter more than loyalty. The politics where the one who lies best is crowned as leader. You see it, but you deny it, because to admit it would mean accepting that the rules you were taught were never real. Men admire honesty, but they are seduced by deception. They praise morality, yet they follow whoever holds authority. And here lies the cruel truth. In the game of survival, it is not the most moral who thrives, but the most cunning. The problem is that most of you walk through life blind to the mechanics, thinking intelligence means books and grades, when in reality intelligence is strategy, foresight, and ruthlessness when required. Every downfall you have faced, every betrayal, every missed opportunity, every defeat was not because you lacked intelligence, but because you lacked the ruthless wisdom to see the hidden game. The man who smiles at you may be sharpening a knife behind his back. The employer who praises you today is already plotting how to replace you tomorrow. The friend who promises loyalty has already imagined what he would gain if you fell. Yet you ignore these signs, hoping that kindness will shield you. But hope is no shield, and belief in illusions is the path of the powerless. The world does not run on morality, it runs on results. Yet most men cling to the illusion that being good will be enough to prosper. They believe honesty is always rewarded, that justice always prevails, and that kindness always returns in equal measure. But this is not the reality I have seen, nor the truth written in the blood of history. Look deeper, and you will realize that those who rule, those who conquer, those who dominate, do not rise by innocence, but by calculation. This is the Machiavellian lens. Morality is a mask, not a master. It is a costume you wear to win favor, to appear trustworthy, to lull others into complacency while you pursue what truly matters. Power, influence, survival. To live only by virtue is to live as prey. To use virtue as a disguise, while acting with ruthless intelligence, is to live as the hunter. And remember this, the masses are enchanted by appearances. They do not care if you are truly good, only if you appear to be. The leader who looks noble will be followed even if his heart is black with ambition. The rival who smiles with charm will be trusted, even as he schemes to destroy you. Do not mistake this lens for cruelty alone. It is not about harming without cause. It is about seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Men are selfish. They betray when convenient. They seek advantage without hesitation. And so, the wise man does not fight against this nature, bends it to his will. To influence men, you must understand their desires and fears better than they do themselves. You must know when to appear merciful, when to appear generous, and when to wield fear like a blade. Appearances will protect you, but calculation will advance you. The tragedy is that most people despise this lens. They call it ruthless, manipulative, heartless, but it is only because they cannot bear the weight of truth. They would rather cling to their illusions of fairness, even as they are outmaneuvered by those who see clearly. The Machiavellian lens does not ask you to abandon morality entirely. It asks you to subordinate it. Use it as a tool, not a chain. For morality alone will not win wars, it will not protect kingdoms, and it will not secure your survival. To be merely smart is a weakness. for the world is filled with intelligent men who remain powerless. Intelligence without application is like a sword left to rust in its sheath, admired for its design but useless in battle. What I promise you is not intelligence in the ordinary sense, but something sharper, something that makes you feared, respected, and untouchable. This is what it means to be dangerously smart. It is not about knowing facts. It is about bending facts, people, and situations to your advantage. The dangerously smart man does not argue endlessly to prove he is right. He maneuvers so that being right no longer matters. He does not fight battles on equal terms. He shapes the battlefield so that victory is inevitable. He sees 3 moves ahead while others see only one, and when the trap closes, it seems as if fate itself was on his side. But it is not fate. It is ruthless preparation. The promise of this transformation is power over the illusions that enslave others. Where the masses are swayed by appearances, you will see through them. Where others are deceived by flattery, you will detect the manipulation. Where men cling to loyalty, you will know it is fragile and temporary. This clarity allows you to move without hesitation, to strike where it counts, to protect yourself from betrayal, and to exploit the weakness in others before they recognize it themselves. To be dangerously smart is to understand that life is a game, and every man is playing whether he admits it or not. Most play blindly, relying on luck, chance, or naive hope. But you, with these lessons, will play deliberately. You will know when to disguise your ambition, when to conceal your strength, when to offer mercy, and when to unleash cruelty. And in every interaction, you will command an unseen advantage, because while others rely on rules and ideals, you will rely on strategy and foresight. This is not about living passively in the world. It is about shaping it in your image. The true power of these lessons lies not in hearing them, but in allowing them to reshape the way you see the world. The transformation is not the birth of a new man, but the death of the old one. The naive, the obedient, the one who trusted without question and played by rules written to keep him weak. To become dangerously smart is to shed the skin of innocence and step into a world where every glance, every word, every silence carries weight. This transformation begins with sight. Where once you looked at people and took them at face value, now you will see the machinery behind their smiles, their motives, their fears, their ambitions hidden in the shadows. A compliment will no longer feel like kindness, but like a weapon, sharpened to test your guard. An apology will no longer sound like regret, but like strategy designed to lower your defenses. You will begin to see that nothing is random, that every man is guided by desire, and once you learn to read those desires, you will know how to control them. But sight alone is not enough. Transformation requires the will to act. Many men see the truth and turn away, for truth is heavier than illusion. They prefer to remain comfortable, telling themselves that fairness will protect them. You will not. You will learn to strike when advantage is yours, to retreat when necessary, to bend but never to break. You will learn to speak with calculated silence, to appear merciful when it serves you, and to appear ruthless when it terrifies your enemies into submission. This is not about abandoning morality. It is about mastering it as a tool, using it when it profits you, discarding it when it shackles you. And as this transformation deepens, others will sense it. They will not know why they feel uneasy in your presence, why they hesitate before lying to you, why they pause before crossing you. It is because they feel the weight of your perception. They know, even without words, that you see what they hide, that you cannot be deceived, that your intelligence is no longer harmless but dangerous. This is the mark of transformation, not that you become feared for what you do, but that you are respected for what you could do. If you wish to master the game of power, you must first master the raw material it is built upon, human weakness. Men will speak endlessly of honor, loyalty, and virtue, but beneath these masks lies a predictable pattern of desires and fears. It is not nobility that drives them, but appetite. They hunger for security, for recognition, for pleasure, for wealth, for power. And when you learn to see these cravings for what they are, You will hold in your hand the strings by which all men can be moved. Understand this. Human beings are not as complicated as they pretend to be. The scholar may dress his greed in philosophy. The politician may cloak his ambition in promises. The lover may disguise his desire with poetry. But strip away the disguise, and all men seek advantage. All men seek gain. This is why weakness is not an accident of character, but a permanent condition of mankind. And to ignore it, to expect people to act with pure selflessness, is to live as a fool waiting to be devoured. When you grasp the nature of weakness, you will cease to be surprised by betrayal. The ally who turns against you does not do so because he is evil, but because he sees more profit elsewhere. The friend who fails you in your darkest hour does not lack affection, he lacks courage. The masses who cheer your name today will curse it tomorrow, if another promises them more bread and more spectacle. Such is the nature of men, predictable, fragile, and driven by the immediate rewards that blind them to tomorrow's cost. This knowledge is not meant to fill you with despair, but to grant you power. For when you expect betrayal, you are never unprepared. When you anticipate fear, you can turn it into obedience. When you understand vanity, you can flatter to control. Every weakness, once identified, becomes a lever, and every lever, once pulled, bends men closer to your will. This is the secret the naive never grasp, that greatness is not built on noble illusions, but on the mastery of predictable flaws. To deny weakness is to be its victim. To study it, to wield it, is to rule. Loyalty is a word men cling to as if it were sacred, but in truth it is nothing more than a fragile agreement, held together only by circumstance and benefit. Do not fool yourself into believing that loyalty is eternal, for men serve not ideals but their own advantage. They will stand beside you only as long as standing beside you profits them. The moment they see more safety, more power, or more reward elsewhere, their loyalty will shift like sand carried by the wind. History is littered with examples of kings betrayed by their closest allies, generals abandoned by their armies, lovers discarded for a new flame. And yet men still live under the illusion that loyalty can be guaranteed through words, through oaths, through gestures of affection. But words are cheap, and oaths are broken the moment fear or greed becomes greater than devotion. You must never mistake loyalty for permanence. To do so is to hand your enemies the weapon that will one day pierce your heart. The wise man does not demand blind loyalty, he manages it. He understands that loyalty must be fed, nurtured, and above all, tested. A follower who benefits from your protection will remain loyal while the protection lasts. A friend who grows powerful through your alliance will remain loyal as long as the alliance profits him. But strip away the benefit, and you will see the truth. This is why rulers reward their soldiers with land and wealth, why leaders grant their allies titles and influence, why men in power constantly play the game of favor. They know loyalty is not a virtue, it is a transaction. Once you accept this, betrayal will no longer surprise you. You will expect it, plan for it, and even use it to your advantage. You will learn to divide loyalties, to set rivals against one another, so that no single man can grow strong enough to betray you without fear. You will promise rewards but deliver them sparingly, so that loyalty always depends on tomorrow, never on today. And in this way, you will command allegiance not through blind trust, but through control of what men value most. For when loyalty is conditional, he who controls the condition commands the loyalty. The world is not fixed. It shifts like a river, calm one moment and violent the next. Those who cling to certainty, who believe the world will remain as it is, are the first to be drowned when the current changes. Fortune favors not the strongest, nor the most virtuous, but the one who bends without breaking, the one who adapts when others cling to rigidity. To survive, to conquer, to rule, you must become like water itself, taking the shape of any vessel, flowing around obstacles and overwhelming what resists you. Look through history, and you will see countless men who perished not because they lacked courage, but because they refused to change. The proud ruler who clung to tradition while his enemies embraced new weapons. The merchant who ignored new markets while rivals expanded. The man who trusted old allies even when loyalty had shifted. All of them destroyed not by weakness of will, but by weakness of vision. They believed the world would wait for them, but the world never waits. It devours the slow and exalts the quick. Adaptation is not compromise, it is survival at its highest form. To adapt is to recognize that circumstances shift and that strategies must evolve with them. The man who refuses to change clings to a dead past, but the man who adapts shapes the future. If fortune turns against you, change the battlefield. If allies abandon you, forge new ones. If your methods no longer yield victory, discard them without hesitation. Loyalty to old ways is nothing more than loyalty to failure. And adaptation is not only external, it is internal. The dangerously smart man learns to change masks, to wear whatever face the moment requires. To the powerful, he appears humble. To the weak, he appears strong. To the masses, he appears virtuous. To his enemies, he appears ruthless. This shifting, this ability to become whatever is required, is the essence of dominance. For while others remain predictable, trapped in their single identity, you become untouchable because no one ever knows which face you will wear tomorrow. Fortune will always test you. The flood will come, the storm will rise, the ground will shift beneath your feet. And in that moment, your survival will not depend on strength, nor on goodness, nor on hope. It will depend on your ability to adapt. Those who cannot bend will be broken. Those who cannot change will be forgotten. But those who adapt will not only endure, they will rise from the wreckage stronger than before, shaping chaos into opportunity and turning disaster into dominion. Knowledge in the hands of the timid is wasted, like a blade left to gather dust in the scabbard. Men admire intelligence as if it were a decoration, something to be praised but never used. But true intelligence is not passive. It is not a library of thoughts locked in silence. It is a weapon, forged to cut, to strike, to reshape the battlefield of life. To be dangerously smart is to wield your mind as others wield steel, with precision, with force, and without hesitation. Consider how most men use their intelligence. They debate endlessly. They display clever words. They seek applause for being right. But applause does not win wars, and clever words do not secure empires. The dangerously smart man does not seek to be admired for his knowledge. He seeks to bend reality with it. His ideas are not for conversation. They are for domination. He studies not to appear wise, but to uncover the hidden patterns of power. He learns not to impress, but to outmaneuver. He thinks not for the sake of thought, but for the sake of conquest. The power of intelligence lies in its application. Information about an enemy's weakness is useless if it is not exploited. Understanding human desire is worthless if you do not use it to sway hearts and control minds. To know the storm is coming means nothing if you do not build the vessel to ride it. Intelligence is dangerous only when it is sharpened into action, when it becomes the silent architect of victory while others stumble in ignorance. The world does not fear the intelligent man who keeps to himself. It fears the intelligent man who acts. He becomes unpredictable, unshakable, untouchable. He can turn a rival's strength into a trap, a weakness into a leash, a simple word into a command that others obey without question. His weapon is invisible, yet more powerful than armies, for armies follow the orders crafted by minds such as his. This is the essence of being dangerously smart, not to know much, but to use what you know with ruthless intent, cutting through illusions and seizing control where others see none. Now you have seen what most men will never dare to confront, the ruthless truths that strip away illusions and reveal the raw mechanics of power, loyalty, weakness, and survival. The lessons of Machiavelli are not gentle, they are not comforting, but they are real. And in a world where men are deceived daily, where empires rise and fall on cunning rather than kindness, reality is the only weapon worth carrying. These 8 lessons are not mere words. They are the tools by which you sharpen your intelligence into something formidable, something dangerous. Remember, to be good is optional, to be clever is survival, and to be dangerously smart is to rise above the herd, to see what they cannot, to act when they will not. The world will always belong to those who dare to wield wisdom like a blade.